Howdy gamers, welcome to the Not So Interested podcast again, but this time we're doing it on the PS4 because my internet's awful.
Shit.
It's terrible. Doesn't want to work. And I will try and see if I can put something over the screen. If not, then you're going to be watching my God John Cena moving constantly. And so yeah, was today it's just me. So you say and me.
Oh yeah. I was going to say me and
No, and but today's topic is
Hyper. Problem.
yeah,
Dark Side of the Ring.
is going over the few episodes of Dark Side of the Ring that was with the Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit episodes, the two-parted ones, and maybe, possibly, don't know, depending on how far we get, talking about the New Jack and Owen Hart one. Still haven't watched them all. What was the other one you maybe watch that I also watched?
TV Star.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, how do you want to start this off?
So they were obviously Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. That's who we're obviously doing them now.
Yeah.
They wrestled in Japan when they were like
starting off in
Pegasus Kid.
Yeah.
Pegasus Kid and
it was like at first they hated each other at first. Like Eddie came home saying to Vicky that he was like he was a dick to work with and he hated working with him, and then became basically more than best friends, the same as being best friends.
They just had a respect for each other because they both in WCW, and then
after all that went, they came and died.
They left it to go to WWE with as the Radicals with Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn.
Yeah. The episode worked really well with Chris Jericho saying at the start of it, it's like straight away saying, if you think that, wasn't this like
glorifying the murder?
That's it, yeah.
They're not. That's what we want to point out that
yeah,
we're not doing this to get views. We want to talk about something which we grew up with.
Something that we can actually talk about properly without having to like research topics.
Because we are wrestling fans.
Yeah.
So.
But it's the episode was I feel like it went really well when going into how Chris reacted with Eddie's death and running up before it as well with how they started off with going for their careers, especially when you get thrown like Mania.
Obviously, they both went. Well, Eddie beat Brock to unfold on the way out, and then a month later, Chris won the world title.
Was it with Kurt? Wasn't it?
They had a match. It was Eddie and Kurt, and Eddie won. I think, yeah, and then it was the triple threat one there, and Chris won, and they had the moment where they hugged, and as they said in the thing, maybe they should have retired then. They were on the top of the game.
It was very much. I keep losing my train of thought.
End of an era. Well, not end of an era, but it was like
two people who were weren't the standard at the time for generic wrestlers, because they weren't the big guys who were which like Vince McMahon would go to.
It already changed kind of because they had like Jericho and they had them before. You know, I think Eddie had got fired previously because he was an addict.
Yeah.
But then came back and proved they were wrong, and they gave him the shot at the title and won.
Well, the photo of Eddie and Chris now is just known as like a. It's. Oh, I can't think of the word is that I'm trying to think of. That's gone completely. But like, it's one of those things which like it marks that time as something huge.
Yeah.
I was like, nowadays it's not. It's well, to WWE at least, you can't
mention it.
Yeah, because even though what happened with Chris, it's still his wrestling will always be known as one of the best, no matter what. Especially with like his work, as they'd always said in the thing, as they said in the documentary, with his work ethic. With I think it was when they were in Japan with Jericho, where he went to dropkick I think it was Chris, and he just completely missed him. And then as soon as he went backstage, he's doing push-ups and squats because he's.
It was dead. It was dead. It was like dead squats or something. Or something like that. But it's just up and down, up and down.
And he was saying it's just because at the time it was kayfabe was. It was like him
was
trying
it before the click?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not sure. I know it was before they were in WCW together, so.
Yeah, but it was them trying to say, like, well, not to ruin like the quote at the time, which was the magic of the business. Where like nowadays it's everything's announced. There's not exactly many surprises anymore, sort of thing.
You get mocked for watching wrestling because it's fake. It's predetermined.
Yeah.
Taking bumps off out of the cell is not fake.
Having internal bleeding from jumping 20 plus foot off the top of a cell through a table and ending up under a guardrail.
But most films are fake, but no one knows go with them.
SpongeBob's fake. It's still great.
Batman's not real. Titanic's not real.
Well, but yeah, it's
There was more room on that fucking thing, so he could have stayed alive. Moving on.
Yeah, the documentary went really well within detail within how Chris moved on without Eddie, especially with I keep on fucking losing trail of thought.
Well, they showed his path towards
towards the end of his life. And yeah, I think a lot of his obviously his mental state and everything with it. It'll never be fully known what exactly caused any of it. People will always say roid rage and plenty more, but you never know nowadays. It's something that won't be known ever.
There's no one there.
No.
You know, what would be the first question you ask him if he was still alive? Why'd you do it?
Yeah.
And Chris said on the thing, if he was alive today, he would hate the fact that what he did for a living, because Chris said he was only having a job, his only other paycheck was for wrestling. He said, what would you do if he nearly killed you, the business you loved, and he would be heartbroken.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd want to be in the Hall of Fame himself, which was another topic they talked about at the end.
Yeah.
But obviously, Eddie died. Chris just, as they say in the documentary, he just distanced himself from people.
He turned into like a hermit almost.
He took different routes to the gym. He was looking at things like Restless Sons missing, and Eddie. Well, before Eddie died, he gave Chris a Bible, and he turned into religion. Eddie would like preach to like the locker room and everything.
Well, yeah, because it said in the documentary, wasn't it? There was as Chris Jericho went backstage once, Eddie is just in the back, not wearing anything, preaching to the whole locker room. And then after Eddie dying, Chris started following it, and then it was with the one as well with the journal that he was given to write to Eddie after Eddie's passing. And I think it's something with them where I think it's something which everyone would want to read, but at the same time it's some things you don't. Sometimes you won't want to, but it's that insight into what was in his mind at the time. Because obviously, when he died,
he said, "I'll see you soon," didn't he?
Yeah.
And then, he just, I don't know. I'd love to know, but we can't.
Yeah, I think with obviously his brain ending up like an 80 was it an 80-year-old with
85-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
yeah.
But on the website, it's screwy.com, I think it is. I got so obviously Chris and Nancy were married.
Yeah.
They got married in 2000. Daniel was born 2003, and then she wanted a divorce in the early years because he was showing violent behaviour. But this one in the documentary, so if this isn't true, this is off the website.
Yeah.
Not me. But apparently she wanted a straight order and the divorce, but they didn't. They did mention though, there was an argument, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And Nancy's sister and a wrestler made Chris move out. And within a couple of days, Chris rang the sister and said, "Can I speak to her?" And she put her on the phone, and within a couple of days, back together. And she said she does regret that call.
Yeah. With one thing with that documentary, which I feel was helped a lot with it, but was also as soon as he cried and I cried as well with Chavo.
Yeah.
Especially when he was talking about the day Eddie died, with toothbrush in hand, just face down on the floor, and him dying in his arms. And it's like that whole part is just fucking like it's. You can see with Chavo as well. It's people said for ages, wasn't it? People were saying like, "Oh, Eddie died because of the drugs," and it's even though he died at the time, it was his heart, wasn't it?
Yeah, because there was things that he kept falling asleep through mid-conversation and everything.
Yeah. And this, so he died midway through brushing his teeth, wasn't it?
Yeah, and when they told Chris, he broke down.
Yeah.
Well, I remember watching a video before about Rey Mysterio. Like, didn't he go in the room? Remember?
I think so, but I know they didn't.
I don't think it was mentioned in the documentary because he's a part of the WWE. But I swear there was.
I remember something being about it being with Ray.
Said his final goodbyes and stuff. Unless he was at the funeral, I can't remember. Unless he was at the funeral home or something. I cannot remember. But I remember watching the video about him speaking to Eddie.
Yeah.
Because I swear he mentioned the police went in with him, and the paramedics. This was months ago.
Yeah, I remember something about it. I remember you sent me it. I don't remember what that was.
Yeah, on the documentary,
Vicky fucking played such a huge part in that documentary.
They mentioned the wellness policy and the many loopholes.
Yeah.
And that's how there's always been steroid problems and stuff like that.
Yeah, there'll always be some sort of. Well, even nowadays, you always hear someone has broken the wellness policy sort of thing.
Yeah.
And this well, you got to think as well. Even though with what happened with Chris will always be known as one of the biggest tragedies for wrestling in there. But
probably the darkest day.
Yeah, and especially with now how media pushes down wrestling every chance that they get, and it's But if we, it's like, but one thing with the positives, with I'm not saying that anything is positive with what he did. One of the positives that came out of what he did is the obviously wellness policies in general now, and then you got with American football now with concussions and just concussions in general now are taken so much more serious than they ever were beforehand.
Yeah. It's just it was obviously went into the crimes and it was they mentioned because I always thought it was the weekend 25th of June 27, so just gone in there.
Yeah.
It was 13 years or something.
Yeah, 13 years this year.
There was two shows. There was the one and it was DCW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Chris was supposed to be in the main for the time.
It was him and CM Punk, yeah, and then it was.
They missed the shows, and Chavo and Scott Armstrong had text saying the dogs are out in the back or something.
I think it was the dogs are in the enclosed pool area or something like that. I think it was.
Yeah. And then WWE requested a welfare check. The neighbour, I think it was the neighbour who was like who looked after the dogs. Sometimes ran in.
She went in because the police went down and said, do you know the dogs? Are you okay with them?" And so then she said that she looked after them, so she was able to get the dogs away from the police. She then went inside and
saw Daniel's body.
Yeah, and then
so then the police went in with like guns up, and then they found Nancy.
Yeah,
wrapped up in a towel, I think it was.
Yeah, with what would be, I think it was a knee print in her back. So it was obviously a big physical altercation, and then as well with
so Daniel was strangled.
Yeah, well, it was said that
he died from asphyxiation. I can't say the word. That's it.
And it was said that Daniel was it Nancy or Daniel died first before. It was going to be a few days before, wasn't it? Yeah. And then police were also going around the house, they didn't see the full body. They saw part of Chris. Said freeze, but Chris has already died. Who was hanging from the weight machine.
Lap pull down weight machine with the Bible next to him.
It's
and allegedly there was 10 empty beer cans and a bottle of wine in the bin. Or, I don't know if it was in the bin, I think it was around.
Yeah, allegedly.
So obviously, WWE did a tribute show.
Yeah, straight away, before they knew
it was a homicide when the show was on. They had like people talking like they did for the Eddie Guerrero one, and then the next day Vince McMahon said there would be no mention of Chris Benoit, and there hasn't been since.
No. Well, especially now when you go on anything on the network. I was looking back at watching the other day with Triple H, Shawn, and Chris. It was Triple H faces off. Faces off to. Triple H faces off against. I can't remember the exact title, but it didn't include Chris's name in any way at all.
He was MVP in United States title action.
Yeah. And it was all.
That's 23, I think. That was the last one. But the autopsy results that Chris may have. It says he may have drugged Daniel, but there was no. It says he may have drugged him with Xanax before the murder, render him unconscious, but people say he was strangled, people say he was
OD'd, some people were saying.
Yeah. Nancy apparently had traces of drugs, but there was a minimal level, so they didn't deem it to be in direct connection to the murder. And then Chris's report was worse. Xanax, hydrocodone, and a high level of testosterone were found in his system.
Yeah, because
a report from West Virginia University showed that Benoit's brain was severely damaged and resembled the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
Which had all come from.
Suggested that this might have prompted the crimes.
Yeah, especially a lot of it came from obviously his finishing move being the diving headbutt, constant unprotected chair hide shots as well, and hence why again now there's so much against unprotected headshots now. That's why obviously with AEW before with the part with Cody, getting hit by Shawn Spears with the unprotected headshot, people were so shocked by, because it's just not done nowadays at all. Over fears of anything like that ever happening again.
But there was I can't remember the rest of his name on the documentary, but he rang Chris's dad and said, "Can we have access to Chris's brain?" And they did, and they think it was CTE caused the crimes. So, and this wrestler, I think he retired due to concussions, and he asked Chris how many concussions had he had, and Chris said there's as many as he can count.
Yeah, you can tell that it's reached that sort of point where it's like,
if you have a concussion now, you're out for weeks.
Yeah, well, look, well, it wasn't a fully a concussion, but obviously with Kyrie in the past few weeks as well. With after
Daniel Bryan retired.
Well, yeah, Daniel Bryan got just fully retired for a bit, didn't he?
Yeah. I don't know if this interview with Chris Van Vliet. He said that with Daniel, he said he would have liked him to retire, and they offered him a coaching role.
David.
Time 7, David. But yeah, if this didn't happen, it's gonna be different. He could be like with AEW now.
Well, in general, though, if that didn't happen in general, there could be something even like much. Yeah, not just that. A lot more. Something more worse could have happened.
Well, there was 3 cases. 4 cases, I think, including Chris.
Yeah.
In the NFL, there was one who I think killed himself. One, I can't remember the other one, but one drove down the wrong side of the road, crashed, and died in like a massive fire.
Yeah. There's well, that's why now, obviously, with NHL now, they've got all that like the gel inside of their helmets as well. With like rugby now, you get a concussion mid-match, or you get any sort of head injury mid-match, you're off and getting checked instantly. Someone's come on for you, you can go back on then if you're fine, but it's instantly now.
Apparently the funerals were awful. They sent JR, but Sandra, Nancy's sister, like didn't want him there, so they weren't welcome. And after that, they rubbed their hands with the Benoit family. Apparently, I think David was told the one side of the family didn't want anything to do with him, and Sandra, Nancy's sister, was told the other. But they finally met up. I think it was AEW by Chris Jericho. They gave, I think he gave phone numbers and then passed them on.
Yeah.
She also did say at the end that she would like to forgive Chris, but she don't know when it'll be.
Oh yeah, it's. I imagine it's something that's not exactly. It's not. It's never going to be something that's simple to forgive for. But it's just that.
Yeah.
It's that thought of he wasn't him at the time sort of thing. Because of obviously his brain and everything.
A lot of them say that that wasn't him. I remember Chavo said that he trusted him with his kids and everything. So
yeah, well, it's like what with Jericho saying, wasn't it? If you'd have put like 100 people into a room and tell me which one of these would have murdered his family and him then himself, that no one would have guessed him in any way.
Yeah.
He's always known as the quote gentle giant, and nothing. Not someone you'd mess with, but it would never be someone who was known for being aggressive or anything like that. Especially after when Nancy was with
Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah. And Chris and obviously got in the way of not Brit. Yeah, because obviously Kevin Sullivan, who allegedly, still have to say that now because he denies it all now, but allegedly there was like a physical altercation between Nancy and Kevin Sullivan, and then a physical altercation mid-match, and they started just going, and then between Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit mid-match and backstage as well, and then Chris just said and then Nancy had rung Sandra saying to go with Chris and not to go with Kevin Sullivan. And even now, you can't. It's allegedly, because none of that is. Kevin Sullivan refuses to say anything now.
Yeah, he wasn't on there, was he?
No, well, he refused to make word of anything that had happened, which is sad that he didn't, because it's but at the same time. Yeah.
But I think they've laid it. I think the ending was good. They laid it the rest, and they were just like,
yeah.
She did say she'd like to forgive him, but didn't know how long it'll be.
Yeah, I think, and it seems like it's going to be the last sort of like documentary-esque thing.
I think they finished with it now, unless something else comes out, like
unless some sort of like huge evidence came out or something like that.
They might look into the case in a couple of years. Like they might come out and say, "Oh, someone did it, and someone killed them," and then Chris saw instead of reporting he killed. But then it was the thing with his brain. So
yeah, it's always going to be something now that's just going to be like, what's the truth? What's happened? Is this going to happen? Is it ever going to be fixed? And it's never going to be. It's going to be something now it'll always just be left where it is. No one will ever know if there's anything different that happened.
They'll never put him in the Hall of Fame.
No.
And if they put Nancy in there as a woman, the first question would be, the first thing would be Chris.
Yeah.
Both their legacies are tarnished over that weekend.
Because I know people saying that that Nancy wouldn't be put in there because of her name, but woman should be, which is what Jericho said as well. Yeah, it's documentary though. One thing which really showed well was a lot of the stuff when they went through with Eddie, and showing his beliefs and how he went through his career, starting off in Japan and then going to WWE and
about his drugs and
yeah.
This is a very brief. This is just not about Chris, but if you actually want to go and find out about it, then watch the documentary Vice. Or
Yeah, Vice and
Vice in America or 4 in Britain.
Yeah.
Outside the ring.
It was episode 3 and 4.
3 and 4, 2 and 3.
I think it's 3 and 4, or maybe.
Yeah.
I first thought it was 4 and 5.
I think it might be 3 and 4.
Yeah, but I'd recommend just watching any of those documentaries in general because they are incredibly good, especially when you look at the one with Owen Hart and his death, and New Jack and the
New Jack one. New Jack one isn't a tragedy. It's just
New Jack one's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
He is. Yeah, Owen Hart one's. That's it. I think Eddie and Chris one is more, for me personally, is more sad with Eddie. Owen Hart one is just, it's hard. It's not hard to watch, but it's very mad. Not mad, but like it's hard to explain exactly what that one's like.
If that never happened, if these things never happened, a lot of things would have actually happened.
Yeah.
A lot more. There'd be another death, maybe another high-profile person.
Yeah, there would have been some sort of. If a lot of these didn't happen, it's like the world would.
Thing I don't get, obviously AEW did the headshot thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
But what if in the next 10 years, it happens again?
Yeah.
Headshot. These WWE have done well here, and they've banned headshots.
And I understand.
Companies think, oh, hardcore and everything. Yeah, but killing your family, no.
I understand where the fans of hardcore wrestling come from, and it's their choice, and but it's again, I feel like nowadays with hardcore wrestlers, it's much shorter careers now with hardcore wrestling.
Yeah, you put your book in the line anyway. But hardcore, you have to go through.
Hardcore, you're talking, well, nowadays a favourite of people's in hardcore wrestling is usually like being put through a table which has light poles on it, which shatters.
Fire. Yeah.
And it's like, when you look at the New Jack.
Been hardcore, not New Jack.
It's like. Talking. Yeah, it's a quick little just thing into it, but it's like with the New Jack one, which showed us a bit of the hardcore wrestling thing as well, which is, it's just people jumping off of 30-foot walls onto the floor, onto people. It's people jumping through light poles, which are the filament glass ones, which will just slice you, and people are covered, and it's. The New Jack one's very hard to watch, and then they get up, and then they do it more and
New
more.
Jack should have retired. Well, he was told he could never do it again because he lost all sight in one eye, and I think it was about nerves or something. And then he did it again.
Then he continued, and then continued more.
But this is another topic for another video.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend watching the documentaries to get more into what we're saying. It's definitely something to. It's something when you watch it once, you kind of want to watch it again.
Even wrestling fans.
Well, yeah, people. Yeah, because our friend Connor Harris, who isn't a wrestling fan, has also watched them and said himself that they're interesting to watch. It's definitely something to watch. Something to. Even every time you seem to watch it, you seem to realize something different or something new. Yeah. Even if it's something small, you tend to realize it as well. It's definitely worth the watch. I would 100% agree with that, and it's something that, well, it's changed sport in general now.
Yeah. I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, but is there anything else, or?
No.
Yeah, so thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, leave a like and a comment telling us what else to watch. Be ready for hopefully some more coming soon about similar topics, other topics, we never know. Find out soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.